let me at least die gloriously, with a struggle, and do some great deed that men will praise for all time. Achilles was told that he would die in the battle of Troy. And yet he still went, and he still partook in the 10-year struggle that was the Battle of Troy and fills the epic of the Iliad. Achilles, a man who is stuck between Scylla and Charybdis on one side, fearing the fortune told on him that his life would end in this battle. Yet on the other side, a product of a culture that constantly sought glory and honor and to leave a lasting legacy. Because of this, Achilles is a torn and divided character in the pantheon of mythic heroes that we have as a culture. But a hero not so different from us. When it comes to the term leaving a legacy, what are you seeking after? Are you like Achilles, trying to avoid the prophetic fortune of death that lays over every single one of us? Or are you like Achilles in the ways that he's constantly seeking glory and honor, and to showcase how best he is at his profession? Achilles is a tragic hero, one that was seeking to be remembered for thousands and thousands of years. And how ironic that he is remembered in a way, but not for his great deeds, but for his one weakness, the Achilles heel. Mythically speaking, Achilles was dipped into a pool of immortality, but he was held in that pool by his heel, and so it was the only part of him to not be touched or blessed with immortality. And it is by his weakness, his one vulnerability, that Achilles' legacy lives on.
Let them say, I lived in a time of Achilles.
All right. Welcome to Mindset Monday 51. My name is Anthony, and I'm one of the co-hosts of the Ultimate Pill podcast with my brother Chris. And we're so glad you're here. We're so glad you chose to listen to us today. Whatever day that is, Mindset Monday's intent is to get you going in the right direction for the rest of the week, whatever day of the week that is that you're listening to. Preferably Monday, though. And we always try to follow up on some of the ideas presented in our main episodes. This is following episode 55 of the Ultimate Pill podcast, where really we started talking about legacy. Long after the thrill of living goes on, when it all comes to an end, because it all will for us eventually, what do you have? What will you be remembered by? And leaving that episode, I couldn't stop thinking about the portrayal of Achilles in the movie Troy. It's one of my favorites. And although not fully book accurate to the epic Iliad by Homer, some of the themes in it are really, really good, especially around the character Achilles. And the movie ends with this song. You're hearing the instrumental in the background right now. It's called Remember by Josh Groban. And man, is it an impactful song. I encourage all of you to go listen to it when you're done with this episode. Just as soon as this episode clicks off, go listen to Remember by Josh Groban from the Troy soundtrack. But it's a perfect encapsulation of how Achilles is portrayed in that movie. And again, not totally book accurate, but as the intro kind of narrative portrays on this episode, Achilles was a man obsessed with legacy, especially in the Greek sense of glory and honor in battle, and I think we can all kind of relate to that from a Norse or Nordic, Scandinavian viewpoint. The Vikings shows, Last Kingdom and Vikings are very popular. A lot of people watch those, and you see that culture obsessed with glory and honor and death as well. I mean, that's how they got to Valhalla. The Valkyries would come save the most brave and glory-filled warriors who had died on the battlefield and take them to Valhalla to drink beer with Odin and all the other gods. That was their heaven. But the Greeks, in a similar way, those ancient Greeks were obsessed with honor and glory as well, and so was Achilles. And what's even more interesting is that he had this prophecy over him that he was going to die in this battle, and yet he still went. And so sometimes he would not fight and put his cousin or his friend Patroclus to go out there and fight for him, wear his armor. Hey, you go inspire the men. I don't really feel like fighting because I'm supposed to die in this. Oh, but by the way, don't do better than I would do. Don't outshine me because you can't steal my glory. Like, that's a part in the book. So, but I laugh because it's so eerily similar to a lot of people today. I mean, I feel like those are two big motivators, and there's something wrapped up in all of that, right? Like the motivation of fear of death. We all in some ways have that prophecy over us. We don't know when, but we all know we're going to die eventually. So that hangs over people. But then also, like, I know a lot of people, and maybe I was driven by this at one point too, not now, but just driven by, like, what legacy am I leaving behind? What impact am I leaving behind? How will I be remembered? That's a question that Achilles is asking. That's what the song is asking at the end. How will I be remembered? Remember me. Remember me. Just remember me. That's what the song's saying. Just remember me. And some of us just want that. We want that impact so badly. I listen to that song and I feel a sadness, a deep hurt, because in some ways an old part of me can relate to that, and I hurt for the people that are driven by that. Remember me, because we can't control when we're going to go, and we think we have control over how we'll be remembered. But as I've gotten older, I realize you really don't have control over how you'll be remembered to an extent. Your grandkids, your great grandkids, like each generation that goes on beyond you after your death is going to remember you less and less and less. No matter what you do. No matter what you do. And in some ways, you could look at that as discouraging. For me, I look at it as humbling. And it really gets me to focus in and narrow in and get my perspective to what we talked about, me and Chris talked about on episode 55, which is that the best chance for you to leave a lasting impact is to focus on being life supportive, providing value, and helping others in the immediate vicinity of where you're at now. If you could, we landed on meanings, values, and beliefs. Those are going to help you figure out what to aim at, where you're going, and why you're going. And this humbleness about not having any ability to have control over how you'll be remembered is, in a way, to me, encouraging to say, I'm going to do the best I can. I'm going to do the best I can with the relationships I have that are closest to me, that are with the people that are in my general reach. I'm going to try and have a huge impact on the people around me in my close-knit circles. I'm going to try and be there for them, my family, my friends, my closest friends. Because that's the best shot I have at being remembered well. But it's also the best shot I have at making the life around me right now better in some way. By being life supportive, by providing value, by being there for others that mean something to you. And you can do all of that and be fueled to do all of that by figuring out your meanings, values, and beliefs. So, one, as where I wrap up, go listen to that song, Remember, by Josh Groban. See what kind of feels it makes you feel, what puts inside you. Then two, go check out episode 55 of the Ultimate Pill podcast, because we dive deep into how to figure out our meanings, values, and beliefs. Because those are going to be like your jet fuel, the fire that fuels your engine into the energy that's needed to make an impact on the people around you, on the life around you, on the experience of humanity that you're going through right now. And by doing this, you won't have to worry about how you'll be remembered. Don't make that your focus. Make your focus be figuring out your meanings, values, and beliefs, being life supportive for the people around you, for the life around you, for your life, having a deep, meaningful relationship with who you are. And I promise you will be remembered well. I'll see you on the next one.